Welcome back, True Seeker. It is Sunday, November 19th, 2023. Tomorrow will be Joe Biden's 81st birthday. And of course, Rosalynn and Jimmy Carter left the White House at the start of 81, the day the Iranian hostage crisis concluded. And right now we have a Hamas hostage crisis where Hamas is backed by Iran. Notice her passing on a Sunday, Rosalynn Carter. Of course, just 2 days ago, it was that she was put into hospice care, just like Jimmy Carter was at the beginning of the year. And as far as we know, as far as we've been told, Jimmy Carter's still alive. He's survived an awfully long time in hospice care. But it's just 2 days after the news broke of her entering hospice care, which was Friday. And again, they left office at 81. Tomorrow, Joe Biden turns 81 years old. The man who got 81 million votes, who's from Scranton, Pennsylvania, home of the office that's on Interstate 81. Here's the other big thing about this. Jimmy and Rosalynn Carter got married on July 7th, 7/7/1946. And their marriage lasted 77 years. And Jimmy Carter became president in 77. And Joe Biden, who has a lot of parallels to Jimmy Carter, he began running for president in his 77th year of life. And of course, Washington, D.C., the federal cities on the 77th meridian west. Of course, in Gematria, United States equals 77, like secret society. They still haven't put out any video footage of the plane that hit the Pentagon on 9/11, just a few still frames. And they said it was Flight 77 that hit the 77-foot tall Pentagon on the 77th Meridian West, 77 minutes after taking off. Again, if you look at the 9/11 Commission report, it took off at 8:20 and supposedly crashed at 9:37. But I only bring up all these things to just remind you of numbers and rituals. And like how on 9/11, it was a big ritual, a national emergency. When World Trade Center construction began in 1968, the same year 911 was made the national emergency dialing code. Again, the ritual is clear. The numbers cement the ritual. In Washington, D.C., it's the city known as the Masonic City because George Washington was the Freemason. The Scottish Rite has a headquarters in Washington, D.C. And again, they etch on the temple, all is number, like the fourth book of the Bible's Numbers. So with regards to numbers and the Bible, remember there's this ancient code of letters and numbers, gematria, or in Greek known as isopsephy. Look at what this code reveals about her death this day, the day before Biden's 81st birthday. The anniversary of their wedding is July 7th. Again, 7/7. They were married for 77 years. They were married in 46, the same year that Trump was born, Bill Clinton was born, George W. Bush was born. They were married in 46, like Joe Biden's number 46, and it's 46 years since Jimmy Carter became president in 77. And of course, Biden was elected 46 weeks after the Pope. He's the nation's second Catholic president. The first JFK was killed at age 46. And there's a theory out there about Jimmy and JFK, which is interesting. But anyway, notice that from the wedding anniversary to the death, November 19th, is 135 days later. And Jimmy Carter in Gematria equals 135. Again, you get the letters to become numbers by just taking the alphabetic order. So you can see it says J is worth 10. That's because A is the first letter, B is the second, C is the third. If you keep counting, you get to J is the 10th letter. The letter before J is I is the 9th letter. 3 letters after J is M, the 13th letter. 15 letters after J is Y, the 25th letter. Anyway, you just add up the letters as numbers. Jimmy Carter, 135, dead 135 days after their wedding anniversary. And Jimmy Carter going for world records, not only for the oldest living president, the longest presidential marriage, but maybe the longest to ever live in hospice care, if it's all true. We'll come back to Rosalynn Carter's birthday, but notice that from her birthday to today is 93 days later, and she's dead on a Sunday where the sun is 93 million miles away on average. And if you're new here, we started with the most simple cipher, the alphabetic order. there are 4 base ciphers, all based on the alphabetic order. One is running the alphabetic order in reverse, and then the other 2 are the alphabetic order forwards, the alphabetic order in reverse, but both ways just applying numerology. So you have the alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. The 4 base ciphers. We'll go over all 4, but I just want you to see the connection with Jimmy Carter, whose name also has Gematria 54 when you apply numerology, like sun. And the wife dies in this perfect ritual on a Sunday, again, 93 days after her own birthday, the reflection of 39. Jimmy Carter was the 39th president. And notice how in Gematria, Jimmy Carter equals 54 and 72, forwards and backwards, just like Jesuit order. Again, the sun, which equals 54, moves 1 degree on the astrological wheel every 72 years. We'll get to how President Biden and President Trump both equal 72 and how they're Jesuit educated. But, you know, the Jesuit order, Adam Weishaupt, former member, is the founder of the Illuminati in Bavaria. And notice how Bavaria equals 135 and 54 like Jimmy Carter. And again, the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt founded the Illuminati in Bavaria and gave it the name eventually Order of Illuminati, which equals 93. What illuminates the world? The sun. These numbers used ritualistically all the time. If you go back to my earliest videos when I first started teaching this, we are already into the pattern with 93 and 54. It's like something we've understood from the earliest days of the research, the ritualism of 93 and 54 and where it fits in with the sun and the Catholic Church, whose calendar we're on, who's a sun-worshiping cult. Again, the Jesuits come from the Catholic Church. Thus, the Illuminati comes from the Catholic Church. Thus, the Da Vinci Code series. But yes, let us not forget the sun is also 150 million kilometers away on average, and Illuminati also equals 150. And let's not forget what they did with Alec Baldwin last year with the shooting of the Ukrainian woman and the church shootout scene on the set of Rust right before Ukraine, Russia. They said the killing was at 1:50 local time. It was Alec Baldwin who did it, and it was paralleled to Brandon Lee, who was buried on the 93rd day of 1993, which was Alec Baldwin's birthday. And for the record, if you do it the big way, Order of Illuminati's 201. Bruce Lee died on the 201st day of the year. Brandon Lee's death had parallels to his father's death because his dad died while filming Game of Death, only for Brandon Lee to die on the set of a movie scene in a scene that's just like the one from Game of Death where Bruce Lee gets shot. But Bruce Lee died on the 201st day of the year, Order of Illuminati 201. The Alec Baldwin ritual was 201 days after his birthday at 1:50 in the afternoon, when his birthday is the 93rd day of the year, the same day Brandon Lee, again, was buried in 93. That's also the supposed crucifixion day to Jesus. April 3rd, the 93rd day of the year. God's Son equals 93. Nazareth 93. Crucifix 93. Solar Man equals 93, what the pagans celebrate on December 25th. Mithra 93, the Roman sun god before Jesus Christ, the Son of God. And just with regards to secret societies, again, the Illuminati was founded May 1st, 1776. Jimmy Carter was the 76th governor of Georgia. But the next number is 77. And again, Washington, D.C. on the 77th meridian. These two married on 7/7. Their marriage lasted 77 years prior to her death today. And again, he became president in 77. And if I forgot to say so, Joe Biden began running for president in his 77th year of life. Might have said that, but in case I forgot that one, another part of this. Because again, it's his birthday tomorrow. He'll turn 81. And these two left the office in 81. And again, from his start of his presidency to his death, 46 years, the day before number 46's birthday. When they called Georgia for Biden, it was the 46th day of Jimmy Carter's age. I've been talking about these things since, we were explaining back then why they were going to call Michigan for Biden, because we knew it was in the bag for Biden. We knew he'd be elected number 46, 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament. JFK assassinated at age 46. And now this ritual with Jimmy Carter all these years later after talking about that so many times. So, again, Genesis 46 begins with the sacrifice. Sacrifice also 46 like Catholic. Temple Mount equals 46. So does the word religion. Temple Mount, the contested site that some people want to destroy to build the third temple there. It'll likely be a day of eventually this thing that's being summoned so clearly, Temple Mount, where they want to mount the third temple. Again, all this terminology comes from the Catholic Church. Temple Mount, 46, just like religion, like Catholic, like how the Templars used to be there, like how they brought all this knowledge after the Crusades to the church. And the next thing you knew, there was a new calendar and language with everything perfectly encoded in these ancient world ways that go back to Babylon. Letters and numbers, spells and spelling, Genesis and speaking the world into existence. So here's the other piece about the Illuminati. Her birthday is 18/8. Almost every year on her birthday, there's some very obvious Illuminati death. And the reason why is because of the date sequence 18/8. The original name of the Illuminati before it was finalized with Order of Illuminati was Bavarian Illuminati. And in the most simple cipher, it's 188. It's also 80. The other year, Kofi Annan died in a big 80 ritual on 18/8. There's been more. But the thing about Bavarian Illuminati in 188, the thing that's so interesting, besides her birthday being 18/8 and all this other Illuminati stuff in her death, is that the US dollar bill denominations, again, the dollar bill has the Illuminati symbolism all over it. And the US dollar bill denominations, the 1, the 2, the 5, the 10, the 20, the 50, the 100, they add up to 188. So also, for another familiar pattern, as we talked about the other day, the news broke that she went into hospice care on Friday, November 17th, the day leaving 44 days left in the year, the day the other year that Obama put out his book, A Promised Land. And again, they represent Georgia, the fourth state, a state that has a lot of 44 rituals. Did you notice that Georgia's also 127, like Bavarian Illuminati? Might of them being Jimmy and Rosalynn being the Georgia couple. But Georgia, the fourth state, the number we talk about the most in Georgia is 44. And we just talked about how the Iranian hostage crisis that lasted 444 days, how the Netanyahu address about the hostages, that he wouldn't stop bombing Gaza until they got every hostage back. He did that on the eve of the 44th anniversary of the Iranian hostage crisis. And then next thing you know, Rosalynn Carter is, and we were talking about it then, like this is an obvious tribute to Jimmy Carter, who's in hospice care, whose time's near. Next thing you know, his wife's in hospice care. She's dead 2 days later. It's another 44 ritual. But remember what's going on right now. Joe Biden in Gematria is also 44. He took office with number 44-year-old Obama. Or he took office with number 44 Obama once upon a time. And you see how Mike Pence is 45, like how he took office with number 45. But Biden, he's in office while this thing's popping off in Israel and all this 44 stuff's going down. Remember, Israel equals 44, like Zion equals 44, like Netanyahu equals 44, like Theodore Herzl, the founder of Zionism, died at age 44 in 1904, 44 years before Israel was made a nation. This military powerhouse, military's 44. You know, just to make a point about Israel, like look at what else is on the cover page besides her death. Video shows tunnel IDF believes is connected to Hamas. I mean, what kind of news is this? Their assumptions pass for news. Why doesn't CNN give us all the assumptions of Hamas as news? Why don't we get the assumptions of Hamas? And also, if this is the military capability in the infrastructure of the opponent, I mean, it's like it's third world, right? So it's like, okay. What are you trying to show us here? Is this supposed to be the reason why we need to send even billions more over to Israel for what's going on? Because you know that's they're going to ask for next. They're already working on that. You just saw, if you're paying attention to TV, Congress like, we got to come together and do something for Israel. More for Israel. It's like, who are they fighting? People with holes in the ground? Looks like a worm traveled through that. Looks like a gopher hole. So anyway, the point is all of this stuff is ritual, you guys. Everything is high ritual. What's going on in Israel is high ritual. What's going on in Ukraine is high ritual. What went on with the Houthis was high ritual. What went down with when the towers crumbled down 44 days after Tisha B'Av was very high ritual. It's gross. I mean, it's just gross watching this stuff go on every day. And for people to say, how do they do it? Well, my question here is, you know, do we even know? Like, has anyone seen Rosalynn Carter anytime lately? Did she really pass today, or did they just wait today for the perfect ritual to report it? They had to wait till Netanyahu addressed his nation about they won't stand down until all the hostages are back. And look what else is on the cover page. Again, they're the Georgia couple right there on a Sunday. the division, even within a branch of Christianity, 261 Georgia congregations leave the United Methodist Church over a divide on LGBTQ issues. Well, again, if you go by the book, I'm pretty sure the book. Anyway, 261. The cornerstone for Washington D.C. was laid on the 261st day of the year, and all I can tell you about that number is the United States of America equals 261, and Georgia is the fourth state. And again, in numerology, 4 is foundation. Part of the reason this nation's birthday, again, is the fourth day of the seventh month. The Masons also celebrate the 47th problem of Euclid, like how the date can be written 4/7. Hey, what do you know? 47 prevailed in a big way in DC again this year, in a huge upset in the NFL with the DC 47 Fanatics falling to 4-7 versus the Giants today, and the Giants got to 2-5 away and 3-8 for the year, where Giants is 25-38. And Week 11 was a thing of beauty in the NFL, but we'll save that topic for another time. Again, you learn these numbers, you just see how rigged the game is. And it starts to all make so much sense because you just follow the historical threads. And you're like, hey, all of these things go back to the same secret societies. No wonder they're all doing things the same way. Oh, here's Albert Pike's book that says Freemasonry is based in Kabbalah. Oh, Kabbalah, where the whole code of letters and numbers comes from. Funny how this all just works out perfectly day after day in the Masonic city, Washington, D.C. Maybe I need like some blurb before I start every video, some just like paragraph of words that says something to that effect, so people read that before they come to the video and watch anything else. Got to like connect a few dots in people's brains before you can even give them the information. So I got echoing in my brain the comment the other day. I showed this work to my dad. I thought he'd love it, but all he said was it was stupid, nonsensical conspiracy crap clickbait on the internet. It's just like, what? I don't know how anyone could ever say that about any of my videos. I mean, it's just like they're punching you in the face every day. On the same day that she's going to hospice care, they're releasing 44,000 hours of January 6th footage. Let's not forget we called everything about January 6th before it happened, and for doing so, finally had some viral videos that both got taken down for medical misinformation. It's like, that's weird. It didn't have anything to do with medicine. But if you weren't around that time, that was Google's favorite joke, to just take down everybody's video for medical misinformation, even if it had literally, it could be a decode on a mass shooting in a sports game, taken down for medical misinformation. Same people that run this government run these platforms. And again, you can prove that too by learning this knowledge and just watching the rituals they do, the days they celebrate. Okay, so yeah, I think we hit it all for the why it mattered 135 days after the wedding, why is Sunday matters 93 days after her birthday. Again, the whole 77 thing, the whole 81 thing, the whole 46 thing. Yeah, I think we hit all those. So got here late. Feel free to rewind. I did forget to mention that President Biden and President Trump, both also Jesuit educated men, have the 72, like Jimmy Carter. Again, 72 names of God in Kabbalah, 72 demons in the Goetia. Joe Biden in 72 loses his wife and daughter in a big Jesuit ritual car crash. And then when he was 72 years old, he loses his son, Beau Biden, at age 46. Joe Biden Jr. dead at 46 before he's number 46. And again, how synced that was with the Pope. And when Biden's son died, he died on the 150th day of the year, that whole Illuminati thing. The Illuminati thing is actually really, really good with Inauguration Day, if you think about it. It's an awkward day that we do inauguration. It wasn't always that day, but it's January 20th. We write it 1/20 like 120, Illuminati 120. And remember, if you add 1 through 15 together, it equals 120. The Illuminati was founded on the first day of the 5th month. But January 20th can also be, again, written 201, 20/1. Order of Illuminati, the official title, 201, January 20th, the 201st day of the nation's age. Again, Beau Biden dead 201 days before the Pope's birthday. Catholic Pope's 201. His birth name, Jorge Mario Bergoglio's 201. The Jesuit Order's 201. He's the first Jesuit Pope. Their founder, Ignatius Loyola's 201. Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan's 201. He's the Jesuit priest who did the funeral for Beau Biden, who died 201 days before the Pope's birthday, and the inauguration for Joe Biden on the 201st day of the Pope's age, again, in the election that was perfectly synced with the Pope. But And the 201 list, again, in the alphabetic order with numerology. Inauguration of the President of the United States, 201. Official title of that day. Kudos to anyone who looks deeper into this ritual. There might even be a 201 with her death. But for one more thing that's interesting about this, from Jimmy Carter's October 1st birthday to today is 49 days later, or his 50th day of his age. 49 days later, or 50th day of his age. Notice how Washington is 49 and 50. And I forgot to put the screenshot up there. America is also 49 and 50. 49 and 50. 49 days after his birthday, 50th day of his age. I know if my mom's out there watching, all her response to this video will be, "I sure like Jimmy Carter." Jimmy Carter's her favorite president. She'd say, "Jimmy Carter, he was a good guy. RFK Jr., he's a good guy." It doesn't. None of the evidence dawns on her that they're all puppets on the stage. She still picks favorites, and that's the whole thing. It's like you got to stop giving this theater energy. The point of me doing this work is so people can see how sick the game is, how twisted the people are that govern over us, the ritualism of it all, the lies of it all, the deception of it all, the false reporting every day. Her being 96, you guys, just the whole Illuminati. Again, part of the Illuminati's plan was to infiltrate Freemasonry. Again, George Washington has letters in the National Archives. About his concerns that the Illuminati was going to infiltrate Freemasonry. You see how Freemason is 96 and 42? Today leaves 42 days left in the year, right? And DC's the Jesuit stronghold, and the Jesuits created modern Freemasonry, and Jesuits also 42, like Georgetown's 42, the Jesuit University in DC. But Freemason, 96, 42. It's also 48 like Illuminati. And then the other value, 147, that's a big one with the White House. Again, 147 windows on the White House. And if you write out U.S. President, it's 147, and President of the United States is 147. And let's not forget what they did with Trump's wife last year. His ex-wife died 45 years after their marriage in 77. He was number 45, but she died on the 14th day of the 7th month, 147, 60 weeks into the Jesuit Ignatian year, as Donald Trump announced that day. He put out the first thing in the media that he would run for the 60th presidential election. And there was the report by conservatives. It was like a 72-page report based on 60 cases against Trump. So there's something up with Jim Brown's death too, you guys, because Jim Brown died on the 138th day of this year, and they've done so many rituals with Donald Trump in 138. We're talking about it all the time. And Donald Trump in Cleveland. See how Donald Trump's 138? In that same cipher, Cleveland is 78. And remember, back when Trump was campaigning in Cleveland, Jim Brown was there. Jim Brown of the Cleveland Browns, who died in L.A., and today Cleveland got a big win with their new quarterback from L.A., and the Rams that are in L.A. are originally from Cleveland. But anyway, as we've been talking about, Trump's going to be 78 years old at the time of the election next year. He's trying to repeat history. Only Grover Cleveland has ever had a split term. Cleveland's also 48 like Donald Trump. And if Biden doesn't finish his term, Donald Trump could become number 48. Him being number 47 makes sense too. But if Biden does not finish, he could be number 48. But again, Cleveland 78. Trump will be 78. Trump cards are tarot cards. There's 78 cards in a tarot deck. Again, Marion Barry. Trump's sister, Mary Ann Barry Trump, just died the day that his son appeared in court, and his sister was part of the federal government and a lawyer. Funny that happened on the same day. And that was on the day leaving 48 days left in the year that his sister just died, and Donald Trump Jr. was in court. Donald Trump Jr. born on the 201st day of Trump's age, like how he buried his ex-wife on the 201st day of the year, and they were married in a big 201 ritual once upon a time in 77. But again, Marion Barry, the mayor, whose name sounds like Trump's sister, Marion Barry, he had a split term, and he died at age 78 shortly before Trump ran for president. So Jim Brown, again, dying on the 138th day of the year. Just all the rituals we talk about, the Super Bowl synced with Trump, the NBA Finals, the World Series, and not just Trump. They do this with all presidents. Um, but Donald Trump, just so many things connected to him over the years that we've been documenting. And I mean, part of the thing is I discovered Gematria while Obama was president in 2013, and by the time Trump was president, we've been looking at the research for about 3.5 years, and you get better as time goes on. So started to catch on to a lot more of the stuff they were doing with Trump. But yeah, again, Cleveland, the old Browns team in '96 became the Baltimore Ravens. And that was the year Tupac died, who grew up in Baltimore. And now, again, his full name's Tupac Amaru Shakur, which equals 58 and 104. And he died in Vegas, where the 104th NFL season will end with Super Bowl 58. And this year they're bringing back the Tupac story with the Super Bowl in Vegas. And again, just all this high ritualism. So all this stuff is by design. All of these storylines that we know about have all been controlled by the same people. And with regards to Super Bowl 58, let's not forget that Donald Trump, he won the 58th U.S. presidential election after announcing he was running from the 58-story Trump Tower. And then he got Steve Ray, the 58-year-old Nationals announcer, for Inauguration Day. And then he took office with the 115th Congress. And then the Nationals, 138 like Donald Trump with Dave Martinez, 138 like Donald Trump, won the 115th World Series 138 days after Trump's birthday. And if you go look at the box score, they had 159 pitches in the game. And that same night, the same two cities were playing in the NBA. It was Houston and Washington, D.C., and Houston won with 159 points. And we had ourselves a nice little parlay that night with both big upsets. But yeah, again, that's the other piece about her dying at age 96 on the day, leaving 42 days left in the year. And those numbers do have a mathematical connection as well. Notice the word knowledge is 96 and 42. It's also 147 like Freemasons. They're the keepers of knowledge. But the mathematical connection with 42 and 96 is if you take all the numbers that divide into 42 and add them together, they equal 96. So it's in the language, it's in the math. The word math itself is also 42. Like New Testament is 42, like the 42 books, or excuse me, like the New Testament that begins with the 42 generations to Jesus. New Testament's also got the same gematria as Scottish Rite. Scottish Rite, 165, 159. New Testament, 165, 159. Donald Trump, 159, born on the 165th day of the year. Holy Bible, 45. Donald Trump, number 45. Holy Bible 45 forwards and backwards like Mike Pence. Trump Pence, like the biblical trumpet warnings, the trumpets in the Bible and Revelation, the warnings that knock down the wall in the Jericho story. But yeah, all the biblical stuff that went down during Trump's presidency, the pandemic, 666 days after the first simulation for it. Donald Trump, the proud father of the jab. Anyway, I got someone at the door. We'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Until next time.